Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
You done messed up, Aaron!
Oh, cracks me up every time. All right, well, we are live, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I decided to do this a bit at the last minute because I'm running short on time today, but I really wanted to discuss this issue of Miscavige still being on the run, still being in hiding from process servers, and what the latest is on this. You know, I got to say, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Mark Headley has a line in with Dog the Bounty Hunter, and we would hate to have to sick dog on Miscavige, but God, that would be an entertaining show. Now, I would pay almost anything to see something like that happen. I mean, seeing a giant guy like Dog chasing after a tiny little Keebler elf like David Miscavige would be, well, that would be more entertaining television than what happened at the Oscars this year. So let me show you. Let me show you what inspired this particular video today. I'm going to share with you. This is a poster that Mike Rinder shared on his blog this morning. No international New Year's event again. I guess nobody has told Captain Chairman of the Board, that's David Miscavige, that the pandemic is over. What is the New Year's dress code? So let's take a look at this. New Year's celebration in Malmö org, that's Sweden. December 31st, New Year's briefing starts with highlights, exclusive briefing from management, buffet. Okay. So what is the significance of this? So guys, it has been almost 3 years, maybe just over 3 years, since Miscavige has held an international Scientology event. These events historically have sort of been the cornerstones of the Scientology year. Like the entire year sort of hinges on these 5 or 6 major international events where David Miscavige personally briefs all Scientologists in the world. I mean, these are propaganda events. You know, most of the information put out in these events is false. Even though my whole time I was in Scientology, it never even occurred to me that we were being lied to at these events. But I'm just saying, the fact that these events were held religiously is one of the ways that Miscavige was able to sort of keep control of what the narrative was in the Scientology world and keep everyone, I guess, kind of on the same path and aligned in their purposes. The first event was canceled in the wake of the pandemic. And even though the entire world at this point, I guess maybe except for China, has sort of gotten on with business, particularly in Florida where I am. I mean, we've been wide open since late March late 2020. I mean, mid 2020, we've been wide open. The New Year's event, historically speaking, has been held at Ruth Eckerd Hall in Clearwater, Florida, where I live. You know, Ruth Eckerd Hall holds, I don't know, maybe 2,800 people or something like that. And it's a live event where Miscavige is up there on stage and it's live and it's recorded. It's not broadcast live to all orgs in the world, but the New Year's event is held usually like a week or two before New Year's so that the entire professional video production can capture the entire event, you know, edit it all together and ship the disc, the DVD of the event out to all orgs in the world so that everybody can hold their New Year's event live with David Miscavige at the same time. Now, what's happened this year is, once again, David Miscavige is holding the New Year's event not at Ruth Eckerd Hall, which is a public venue where process servers could find him, where people could infiltrate the event. He's holding a local event in the Fort Harrison Hotel auditorium. And here's actually one of the reasons I wanted to do this video. I want to ask all of you under the radar Scientologists out there, comment below anonymously, email me anonymously, whatever. What is the reason you guys are being given why international events are being canceled? I've reached out to a handful of people that I'm in touch with inside of the bubble, and I've gotten a variety of answers. But I want an even larger variety of answers. One possible reason, not one possible thing that the people are being told, but one possible actual reason is that Miscavige is just afraid that things have sort of fallen apart over the last few years. And if they were to hold a major international event in a public venue, they simply wouldn't be able to fill half of the seats. And that would be sort of a PR debacle, and he's trying to avoid that. Another reason that I think is more closer to the actual reason is that he is absolutely terrified of being physically served in 2 of the civil lawsuits against him right now. Those are common sense reasons that make sense to me, but I'm just dying to know, guys, in Scientology land, here, I'll take this off. What is the reason that you guys are being fed? What is the reason? I know in Scientology land, they are still acting like in Scientology land. Well, I live in Clearwater, Florida, right? You can identify a Scientologist out in the public in Clearwater, Florida, because they still wear masks and plastic gloves everywhere they go. Everywhere you go. Publix, the post office, Costco. You run into someone wearing gloves. I mean, like plastic lunch lady gloves and a mask. You know you're looking at a Scientologist. Period. And this is weird because Scientologists are known to be, I have to choose my language carefully so that I don't get demonetized. Generally speaking, they are against the medicine injections. And yet Miscavige ordered all Sea Org members to get that medicine injection. And anyone who refused was kept in isolation until they agreed to get it. And they were also told to lie to all the public Scientologists in the world and say that they either didn't get it or didn't have to get it. They were actually, they were told, do not tell the public that you received the medicine injection. And just consider that for a moment. You have David Miscavige telling the people who are supposed to be the highest level, most dedicated clergy. I mean, I cringe to use these words, but this is sort of how the law thinks about it. The clergy, the ministers of Scientology, and saying, you guys are to lie to all of the Scientologists in the world about whether you had to get these injections. And, you know, David Miscavige has throughout his life suffered from severe asthma. And it's one of the things that he claims Scientology cured in him when he was a young man. And yet it doesn't seem to be true. It seems that Miscavige is terrified of dropping dead from the virus, because there's really no other way to explain why he is so incredibly paranoid about Sea Org members contracting and spreading this thing. And where was I going with all that? Oh, yeah. So Scientology organizations around the world still have these I want to say virus restrictions, these restrictions in place internally to prevent the spread of the virus. And it's almost like no one told him that we've sort of, as a society, at least in the United States, progressed beyond a serious day-to-day concern about that. And so I'm getting a little scatterbrained right now. Where was I going with all that? Well, there's a few possible explanations internally for why these events are being canceled. And I suspect COVID restrictions. Oh shit, I said the word. Now I might get demonetized. I suspect that concerns about the virus is one of the reasons being given internally for why these events are being canceled. And that brings me again to the question that I want feedback from more under the radar Scientologists. How are you able to reconcile or explain to yourself how this organization, how David Miscavige is still so worried about this virus, even when you consider the fact that all Sea Org members have already been given the vitamin injection or the medicine injection? And how can you explain why Miscavige is still putting such incredibly strict restrictions on the Scientology organizations on this subject, even to the extent that he continues to cancel the major international events that used to be the cornerstones of the Scientology calendar. And I guess the follow-on question to that is, do you personally believe that concerns about the virus are the legitimate reason why these events are being canceled? Or do you personally see that the most likely explanation is he's just using it as an excuse to not have to appear in public at major public events, at venues like the Shrine Auditorium is where they would hold live events in Los Angeles. The Ruth Eckerd Hall is where they hold live events in Clearwater. If he were to appear at any of these events, it would be hard security-wise to guarantee that a process server would not be able to make it into one of those venues and jump on stage in the middle of an event to serve him, you know, a la Kanye West at a Taylor Swift awards party. And so, yeah, it's incredible. You know, these major international events are major fundraising opportunities for Miscavige. Historically, that's one of the main purposes of these events, is to take whatever the latest item is that Miscavige is releasing and selling to the public, and have a very concentrated event where all the staff members in the world are descending upon all of the public in the world to sell them whatever the latest book or lecture or courses or whatever. And he's just thrown these things completely in the trash. I mean, we're almost 3 years on now into Miscavige canceling events. I personally don't truly believe Miscavige could possibly be this concerned about the virus. I believe this all comes down to him avoiding being served. And I got to tell you, if it goes on much longer, we're gonna break out Dog the Bounty Hunter. We're gonna bring him back. We're gonna bring him back. Mark Headley and Dog the Bounty Hunter hunting down David Miscavige. That's what I'm looking forward to in 2023. But in all seriousness, as far as Miscavige actually being served, the next hearing in the trafficking lawsuit against David Miscavige has been scheduled for January 20th at 2 p.m. before a magistrate judge. This hearing is going to be held over Zoom. So whereas normally if this hearing was being held in the federal courthouse in Tampa, where I thought it was going to be held, no recording devices would be allowed in. Because this hearing is going to be held over Zoom, I'm very hopeful members of the public will be able to watch this thing live. And that's terribly exciting, because if that's the case, then we can, you know, screen record the event, you know, record it over Zoom or screen record it while watching it over Zoom and be able to bring it to everybody live. Miscavige himself will not be present or speaking at this hearing. Only the attorney that is representing him in this matter. And the hearing is specifically on the subject of the court making a ruling on whether Miscavige is going to be officially considered served. So that's very, very exciting. And I'm pretty sure I covered everything I wanted to in this live stream. I'm actually going to be going live with Andrew Gold in about 40 minutes on his channel, and then we'll kick it over to my channel for a follow-on event. So turn on the notifications there if you're looking forward to that. And thanks for joining me, everybody. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right